Hey guys, welcome inside to the Guilty as Charged podcast. My name is Steven. I am the host. Joining me today is a very special guest, Mr. Shaun Phillips. You might know him, of course, from the days in the Chargers. You could say the glory days if you want. I think that would be accurate. Shaun, thanks for taking the time to join me, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, man, happy to come on here. I know you sent out the tweet, right? Like you inspired it. You wanted to get some of your football knowledge out to the world. So really excited to have a chat with you today about the Chargers and some of the defensive trends in the NFL. But update us, man. How is retirement treating you these days?
It has its ups and downs. I mean, I do miss getting in fights and tackling and being physical and things like that. You don't really get to do that too much in life now, so I miss that part of it. But I do. I don't miss the long days and nights of studying and preparing for games and things like that. So I don't get that physical competitive juice out anymore. So that's the only thing I'm missing.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you trying to get into the media world a little bit? I know you said you wanted to, be able to express yourself a little bit more. Is that kind of the goal here?
I think so. I really do. Everyone's like, "Oh, you should coach. You should coach," but that's kind of like not my thing. I don't really like to
Mm,
coach. I like being more in the media world, talking about football, talking about sports in general, right? Just like most athletes and former athletes, they're fans of other sports and they're fans of other athletes, and everyone has an opinion about how they see things. So I would like to explore my media presence a little bit more.
love it. Looking forward to seeing how that journey pans out for you. I'm really curious to get your thoughts on this specific Chargers team, and then like I said, we'll talk about some of the other stuff. But what have you seen so far from this Chargers team, and what do you think of what Brandon Staley, the new head coach, is doing over there?
I like what he's doing over there because he has he's a leadership minded individual. You can tell he's a team first kind of guy. Somewhat of I see is obviously you got a great quarterback. Obviously the secondary solid. Joey Bosa and those guys up front, but the negative things I see is, they need a little bit more camaraderie, right? Like a lot of
Mm,
guys, there are missed assignments here, a drop pass here, but that come with gelling. That come with practice. That come with off season workouts. That come with just clicking at the right time. So I don't think the season's a waste. I don't think that they're have to call it quits or anything, right? Like it's a long season and they're out there competing, and I'm sure they'll get the train back on the tracks. I mean, the bottom line is winning solves everything. I think they lost two in a row, but winning solves everything. So they just need to get one win under their belt, and they can just start building off of that.
yeah, absolutely. I think the last two games have been tough, right? But the good thing about the NFL is that it is a marathon, as you guys have always said, right? So they've only played 7 games. They've got 10 more to go. And so I'm kind of curious your thoughts around the league because the AFC kind of generally seems like a hot mess right now. Like there's really nobody that has really separated themselves so far. So in terms of the AFC, like who are you buying in terms of being legitimate contenders right now?
In the AFC, my Charger fans are going to hate me, but Oakland looks good because they got a bunch of good tools over there. I don't know about contender, but I think they look good. Obviously, Buffalo because they have the weapons, right? Buffalo, great quarterback, receivers are good, can run the ball well. A team that just lost the other day, who I like watching, is Indianapolis. They look good over there. And then, you have to think about the Ravens because, Lamar Jackson just does it all. He's so dynamic. You just put him in a position to win. So if you got, a game on the line and you got to win one game, I mean, he's the kind of guy that you want the ball in his hand. And he can do something with, right? So I mean, it's still pretty tight right now, but
Mhm.
so only time would tell. It's just such a long season that things can go left or right real fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just saw, the Titans lose Derrick Henry, so we're who knows how that's kind of gonna derail or not derail what the Titans are doing right now. I'm curious to get your thoughts just kind of on one particular issue with the Chargers that we've seen is that, Joey Bosa as a pass rusher is getting double teamed, getting chipped, pretty much on like every play. It seems like from a fan perspective, as a pass rusher, you were an elite pass rusher in your day. Of course, you had played along some great ones as well. When you are getting double teamed and chipped at the rate that Joey Bosa is, like how do you go about counteracting that as a pass rusher, and really what goes into making sure that you're still able to produce at a high level in those situations?
Well, when you're the man, you're going to get double teamed and chipped, right? All the great pass rushers get double teamed and chipped. So you just got to keep at it. Sacks come in bunches, but then also, you need another kind of right hand man that's out there causing some havoc as well too, so it could free you up a little bit. I fortunately had the pleasure of having Shaun and other guys like that around, so it was pick your poison. So maybe it's just the fact of he needs another guy that can take some of the pressure off of him. But no matter what, he's still going to, even if he get another stud, they're still going to slide the protection his way. They're
Mhm.
still going to double team him. I mean, that's the price you pay when you're the man. So he's a very talented young player, and he's going to get double teamed. But you just keep working. We've all seen guys like Reggie White, beat a double team for a sack, or Aaron Donald beat a double team for a sack, and I'm sure Joey has done it in his past as well. So it's just kind of sticking to your fundamentals and staying after it, and I'm sure he'll do that, and that's what you got to do. Just continue to stay after it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great call. I think there were a lot of people that wanted the Chargers to go after a trade today and potentially get him some more help. But I still think Brandon Staley. One of the things that he does really great for his players is get them into one-on-one situations. So hopefully that is coming around the in a more effective way. And so I'm curious to get your thoughts too, because you played in a 3-4 front with the Chargers, and I think you did so in Denver, right?
Denver was kind of like a little bit of a hybrid, but it was more of a 4-3.
Okay. So we of course saw, the Seattle defensive effect around the league for a while, and the 4-3 was becoming a standard. Now it's kind of swinging back the other way towards, getting in these 3-4 situations. Obviously the nickel defense is really, kind of become the primary defense as well. But what does playing in those different kind of fronts do for you as a pass rusher? Because I think all of us fans, like, we see, 3-4, 4-3, whatever the case may be, but from your standpoint as a player, what really is kind of the advantages of playing in a 3-4 or a 4-3?
Well, my advantages, I would say, of playing in 3-4 is that you get a extra athlete on the field, right? Because with a 4-3, you got two D linemen, two D tackles, and those two D ends. So now you got two D tackles or two D ends and one nose tackle, but now you got two stand up linebackers on the outside. So that's how I look at it: is you just have another highly skilled athlete on the field. But I mean, it's six in one hand, half dozen in the other, because you could do the same thing with a 4-3. All you got to do is stand the guy up, right? So it's still kind of almost the same. But, I kind of like the flexibility of the 3-4, of having that extra athlete, especially with the way teams pass the ball now. So having that extra athlete on the field usually gives you a leg up. But when you got these interior linemen like the Aaron Donalds of the world, then someone can argue against that. It really doesn't really matter whether it's a 3-4 or 4-3. It really comes down to the execution of the 11 men communicating with each other. So that's more in line than anything. So it's never really a bad call whether you're 3-4 or 4-3, or even a bad defensive call, right? It's up to the players to execute, because anything can happen on any play. That's why it takes those 11 individuals being in sync at all times.
Yeah, I think that's another really interesting point because, obviously the past couple weeks there's been, a lot of searching for who to blame with the Chargers' last two losses. Is it a coaching issue? Is it a player issue? And so I'm curious, like, when, as a player, right, the Chargers have had a bunch of struggles with drops, and they've had some struggles with some special teams and run defense. When you're kind of struggling through the dog days of the season, like, what is the thought process in the locker room of how to get back on track?
Well, it's simple. It's simple. You get back to your fundamentals, right? Like football still comes down to running, catching, throwing, blocking, tackling, right? Like those are the core principles and fundamentals of football. So that's what it comes down to. So you got to get back to your fundamentals. That's what I did. Anytime I went through a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a slump, but where I felt like I wasn't making plays like I should have, I personally dug down myself and worked a little bit before practice, worked a little bit after practice, and controlled the things that I can control. And it starts with each individual man doing that, and by each individual man just getting just that 1% better, it helps the team collectively. And so that's kind of how it really has to be. Just go back to the drawing board, do what got you there, and again, stick to your fundamentals. Always work on your fundamentals, and whenever you get out of sorts, you work on your fundamentals. You have that to rely on and fall back on.
Yeah, I love that. I think that is a great sentiment. I want to dive into a little bit of your experience with the Chargers. Of course, I think obviously a lot of our listeners will remember you, but I'm curious because you had Sean, you had Stephen Cooper, you had Weddle, all these guys, and so I'm curious if you know what kind of environment that defense was like, because to us, like, all we see is the production, we see the fun, we see the sack dances, but what was it really like playing with all those guys on defense back in the day?
Well, it was more of a tribute to our offense, right? Like we had a good offense then as well too, and so just being able to compete against our offense, and it was just friendly, healthy competition, and that friendly, healthy competition made us better. And we enjoy celebrating with each other. That's the mark of a team when you get excited for one of your teammates making a play. That's
Yeah.
the mark of a good team. And so that's what we try to do. Support each other, be the first one to clap and celebrate for your teammate. And then it's also becomes competitive. Now you're like, well, everyone else is dancing. I need to make a play so I can dance too. So yeah, it was definitely a great group of guys. I mean, from Weddle to Cooper to Merriman, Jamal Williams. I mean, we had some players over there, and so Cromartie. We had a ton of good players. So it was just really about celebrating with your teammates and enjoying the game and enjoying each other.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because obviously, everybody knows Sean Merriman's lights out dance, but I mean, you had the bowling celebration too that I think goes a little under the radar. Was there a story behind that celebration, and how did that come to be about?
I personally think the bowling celebration was top 10 all time, but I'm
Let's
biased.
go.
But it really it came from my grandmother was a big time bowler. She was a really really good competitive bowler and played on the traveling team and all these good things. So it was just more of a tribute to her, and then it actually ended up being kind of cool. So it just stuck, right? So it started as a tribute, but then it obviously it stuck, and it was kind of like part of me. So again, I still think it was top 10 all time.
I love that, man. I would agree with that. We don't see a whole lot of sack dances these days. I think Limbaugh has a really nice like home run swing that he did against Baltimore, Limbaugh Joseph,
Mhm.
but we don't see a whole lot of sack dances these days.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a couple people get hurt doing sack dances as well too. So I mean, you also got to act like you've been there before. I mean, there's so many other celebrations going on that it probably minimized the sack dance. Now you can get an interception and you can run to the camera and take the whole team and pose for pictures. So it kind of minimized the sack dance probably.
Yeah, the celebration things. Obviously, the NFL allowed them to come back, and we've seen like the scoring touchdown dances have happened. But defensively, it's the running to the camera, or you get the taunting call now. I'm curious to get your thoughts on the taunting call that has been installed by the NFL, because obviously all the fans have been really hating on it. From a player perspective, or former player perspective, what do you think about the NFL's emphasis on eliminating the trash talk, is how they call it?
Yeah, I mean, that's just hard to do. I mean, people are competitive. So, it is what it is. They make the rules. You just follow them. You don't, you get your fine. So I try not to even have a comment on it. Right? I'm not even playing anymore. They may find me on commenting on it. So
Did you see Joey Bosa had some colorful things to say about the refs after the Raiders game? Did you see how much he got fined for that?
no, I didn't. How much was it?
I think it was like close to 25,000.
Yeah, you see, so I like keeping my money, so I'd keep that comment to myself. I mean, that's kind of, that's kind of how it is. You understand, but it's not really, the refs can be a bit of a trouble sometimes, but it's a necessary evil. Because when they go the other way, you don't see nobody complain about it. So if all the calls went the other way, you don't see nobody like, oh, complaining about the other team. I mean, complaining about the call going your way, right? So, you just go out and play football. I'm sure his emotions got the best of him because that's what happens, right? He's an emotional creature. We all are emotional creatures, and I know he's leaving it all on the field. So if something don't go your way, you feel you need to say something, but he'll live and he learn. I mean, that $25,000 fine will definitely put a little bit of a muzzle on a little bit of a muzzle on him.
I love that. I love that.
And he should be able to speak his mind, right? He's passionate individual, so sometimes you just can't control it. It is what it is. Maybe it was even worth it for him to say something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we might be losing you for a second. Oh, there we go.
Cutting out a bit.
Can you hear me okay?
It's kind of echoing. I'm not. It's like muffled and echoing.
It's saying I'm good on my end. All right. Well, Shaun, this has been great, man. Really can't thank you enough for your time today. We got to get you out to SoFi, man. Have you been out to a game yet?
Yep. Anytime. Just let me know. Thank you.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.